个黑框，
黑框。
对，有挡住这个视频。
哦，
你点一下确定，这是一个应该是关于 recording 的。
等一下。哦。
Let's stop the video and switch slides, ready to go ahead with tonight's event. Welcome, everyone. This is Larry Wan, tonight's moderator. Thank you for coming to today's event. Volunteer, please help setting up the PowerPoint slides.
share the slide.
Slide is not shown yet.
Carol, we're looking at, we can only see the virtual background picture.
Okay, let's see.
All right, I found another copy. I can start sharing from this side. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome today to the fourth event of the Asian American Engineer of the Year Speaker Series. It's our great honor to have Dr. Limin, who as today's speaker, who will do a fireside chat on the topic of entrepreneurship and social service. Before we go ahead, a lot of us probably wonder, what does AAEOY really means, and what does the speaker series really look for? We're very honored to have Dr. David Pham to introduce us to the background and history of the event AAEOY and also the speaker series. David was the president of CIE San Francisco in year 2000, and he also redid that in the year 2003 in order to prepare for the one of the earliest Asian American Engineer of the Year award ceremony in 2004. So he knows the background the best in the San Francisco chapter. His personal technical background is on the image processing, machine learning, and AI. And recently he's focusing on the education and training of AI. David?
Yes, thank you, Larry. Good evening, everyone. Let me just quickly talk a little bit about the namesake for this speaker series, AAEOY. AAEOY stands for Asian American Engineer of the Year Award. And it is an annual event, a recognition event on the national level in order to honor the most distinguished Asian American professionals with their leadership, technical achievements, and remarkable public services. And AAEOY was first started in 2002, and it was hosted by CIE USA, and that was part of the US National Engineers Week program. And this program is now called Discover E. And since then, we have had more than 300 awardees, and we hold them up as role models for all of us, and also as a source of inspiration for the STEM community. We have had among the awardees 9 Nobel laureates, many academic scholars, quite a few major corporate executives, and also 3 cabinet members, and as well as 1 astronaut. Next slide, please. And as for the speaker series, this was started in our 2021 AAEOY event. And because of the pandemic, originally our AAEOY to be hosted by the San Francisco chapter was in 2020, in May of 2020, but then was postponed to May of 2021. But even though we postponed the ceremony, we still continue with the AAEOY events. So we had an executive forum of AAEOY in 2020. We invited some corporate executives and past awardees for this event. And then we also hold a number of AAEOY speaker series. In this speaker series, we invited past awardees and also other distinguished leaders to share their knowledge and experience and also interact with the audience. So the first one we had was Mr. David Liu, who is VP of AT&T. And he is also a very good, acclaimed cellist, and he did a performance in the series as well. The second one was Dr. Naveed Hussain. He is a CTO of Boeing. And the third one was Dr. Jianying Hu. She is a global science leader of AI for healthcare in IBM. And I would take this opportunity to say thank you to our sponsors. AAEOY Speaker Series 4 is sponsored by National ACE, which stands for National Asian and Pacific Islander Chamber of Commerce and Entrepreneurship. So National ACE is our event sponsor, event partner. Also today, I would like to welcome a special guest, Mr. Ken Kim, who is the president of Korean American Chamber of Commerce of Silicon Valley. We value your support. And as for National ACE is a partner of AAEOY, and also in addition to that, they provide technical assistance for AAPI small business owners. Through Grow with Google, National ACE offers free tools for small business owners to claim their business online and provide answers to reviews from customers. So please learn more at acesmallbusiness.org. All right, so at this point, let me introduce to you our moderator today, and actually you met him already briefly, Dr. Nanlei Larry Wang. Larry has been volunteering in CIESF since 2004. He was the president of 2009 and chairperson in 2010. And the reason was also he hosted the AAEOY 2014 as the organizing committee chairperson. And professionally, he has been a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. He has brought his DARPA research into the wireless market. And that startup company was acquired by WJ Communications, which is a NASDAQ company. And he was a VP of advanced product in that company. And he also has been advising many startups. And he has been an entrepreneur in residence at the Plug and Play. The emphasis is in the product marketing area. And related to AAEOY 2020-2021, he chaired the Career Carnival in that event. And also he has been hosting the AAEOY Speaker Series. So with that, let me give the stage back to Dr. Wang. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We're most anxious to hear what Dr. Limin would share with us, our speaker today. A lot of us probably heard or even know him in person. He's the co-founder and the CTO Emeritus of Ellie Mae. He also is the former chairperson of a non-profit organization, FCSN, and he's now the president of FCSN. He will share in this fireside chat his experience and story from co-founding a startup all the way through the IPO into a unicorn company, focusing on the fintech in the mortgage market. Also, a lot of us know that in the same time as he worked hard in Ellie Mae, he dedicated as well to the nonprofit organization, Friends of Children in Special Needs. That organization now has over 100 employees. In recent years, he is the startup advisor and an active investor, as well as the president of Silicon Valley Chinese American Computer and Commerce Association. His focus has been emphasizing the integration of high tech with incumbent markets such as retail, restaurant, mortgage, fintech, and so forth. Before we start the program with him doing the chat, we encourage all the everyone in the audience to raise your question as you come up with the idea. You can do so during the chat in the Zoom chat by typing in your question, maybe with a short name of yours and your background. The volunteer will help, maybe combining similar questions into one, and will raise that to the speaker at the appropriate opportunity. After the fireside chat, we will have a Q&A session for all of us. And you can click raise hand. Again, under the Zoom screen, there's a reactions. Moving to that, you'll see the raise hand. And once we find that you have the questions, volunteers or moderator will grant you the chance to voice your question directly to our speaker. So now let us welcome our honorable guest, Limin.
Hi, everyone. This is Limin. Let me see. Can you guys see me?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a pleasure and an honor to be here, to be a speaker, and seeing so many good friends. First, I want to thank the President Brian and Larry, my good friend, for the invitation. And I think it's a wonderful organization. And I'm very happy to share my experiences any way we could. And I think it's a fire chair style. So so I don't need to prepare anything.
Indeed. So Limin, I know you have shared a lot of your experience with many people. A lot of people are curious about how did Ellie Mae start? How did you come up with the idea, and how did you form the co-founders team there?
Yeah, so the Ellie Mae was my third or fourth company. So my first job after I got a PhD from UC Berkeley in EE and computer science, and I got a job from IBM, and IBM gave me $3,000 more. That $3,000 changed my life because I've been doing a lot of digital IC, but then I went to work for IBM. But once I'm in IBM, the IBM was going through a period of transition. So one day we have a new CEO. I think his name was Lou Gusterner. He sent an email to everyone, including me. I was like, wow, the CEO sent the email to me. When I opened it, and I realized that the first sentence says, papers don't count anymore. What counts is really the impact. So from then on, I knew that instead of the academic or research career, I like to become an entrepreneur. So after a few years, I quit IBM, and then I joined an incubator company. And after a few years, I started my company. But when I started my first company, and I have no money, so I have an idea. So I asked my TIDA friends, I asked my Berkeley friends, those engineers, to come to my house. I say, why don't you join me? Do you want to be a starving engineer? And they were like, what's starving engineer? I told them I have an idea. I'm going to bring a group of people, and I say, have you heard of venture capital? They say, sure. I mean, these are the people invest money into many companies, and one of them might make it big. I say, exactly. We don't have money, but we have a lot of people. We have a manpower, so that we're not going to make much money, but we're going to work for a lot of startup companies, and in return, we're getting the option and shares from the company. We're getting equity, so we started that way, and then, but we're not going to make enough money, so that we're going to be starving. And everyone say, Limin, that's a stupid idea. But at the end of the dinner, everyone signed up. So I started my first company, and we have 5 startup companies. We're working for them, and one of them failed. And the CEO of the company was called Inspected. So CEO has a lot of relationship with us. He failed one company. He said, I have another even bigger idea. And why don't we just sit down and then explore? And I'm coming from the engineer background. He's coming from the financial background. So we say, hey, this is a perfect combination. I always tell people that he and me, he's really smart. So I say, with his smart and my look, we perfect combination. So what really happens is that when I look into the mortgage financing, the fintech market is so backward. People using paper, right, and then sending the text, sending the fax, and then it's very paper based. But you look at NASDAQ, and all the transaction, all the platform, everything's electronic. So I cannot imagine the biggest financial market in the world doing the mortgage financial, doing the loan, doing the commercial loan, everything based on very, very old protocol. So we do see a great opportunity there. And he got a domain expertise. And I look at the competition, I say, so many people in this field, none of them are really good engineers. So I think if we are good engineers, if we have market sense, if we can become an entrepreneur, our engineering background is wonderful because we don't see very strong technical competitions out there. So that's how we started the company, and just me and my friend Sig. He's American and Jewish American, and we since then we have become best friends forever.
I see. So you two, in fact, collaborated before the joint effort in the Ellie Mae, right?
Yes. So my first company, because I worked for so many of different companies, and this company inspected my friend Sig. He actually also a family friend with my research advisor. So it's a small world, but you need to establish trust first, and we know each other. And the Jewish friends, they are very similar to Chinese. They're very focused. They put a lot of emphasis on family values, and they work very hard. And the one thing they do much better than the Asian Chinese community is really that they help each other so much more than the Asian communities. So I've been looking at Chinese, Taiwanese. I say we got to work together. We got to help each other, because that's the only way we can be successful. Because we are all immigrants. We come here. We don't speak good English, and we may have better technology, but we don't really know the market that well. So once I shift my gear from engineer into entrepreneur, the first thing I know is that you got to be market driven. So that we build a team, and every of my engineer, I put them into the mortgage company. The first week when they come to work for me, they're going to sit down with my customers and partner customers. They're going to work with them, learn the business for 1 week. Then they know the pain points. They know why things are so difficult in the mortgage financial market. And if you understand the market, then you have a great opportunity to make it happen.
So would you consider that your strong feeling about the importance of marketing was driven by your prior experience on other companies before Ellie Mae?
So I actually follow the Silicon spirit, right? You got to have you got to have a purpose. You need to look at the big market, but however, you're going to fail. You're going to learn from your failures. So that I think I make a lot of mistakes in the prior companies, and one of the mistake was when I worked for IBM Research. When we need to work with development labs, we came out with advanced research. The technology is so great, so complex, but nobody really understand, and nobody really care. However, when I started the company, then I realized that if you understand the pain points, if you know what's the low-hanging fruit, the solution you came up, if I compare to my other projects, I say, hey, these solutions are easy because everyone is going online. Elon is promoting the business, say, taking their lunch. So you just need to help them to go online, and you solve some critical problem for them, and then it doesn't need to be complex. And actually, the first solution we provide is really just a website solution. Help them to go to internet, help them to use technology to communicate with their customer. So it's really just bring them to internet. It's not complex at all, but we kind of understand what they need. So we focus on what we can solve for them, and we work very closely with customer. this is a very different than when I was with IBM Research, because when I was with IBM Research, you try to go where no man has gone before, and then you write the paper, then you publish, and nobody really understand what you're talking about. And but when you go back to the real world, then you say, you know, it's not about the technology, it's about the market need, it's about the problems, right? So if you understand the problem you're trying to solve and you have a good solution, approach it, that's the beginning of a startup company. If you don't even know, I don't want to talk to an entrepreneur where he or she need to spend 20 minutes to explain their business model. You know, I've fallen asleep already. So it doesn't matter what you want to do. It's really that you have very simple idea, but you really need to understand the market, understand the problem, understand your customer. Once you do that, then you have a good chance to build a great company.
Even so, I recall you mentioned that at Ellie Mae, the company still pivot several times. Can you elaborate on that? Does that mean in your first idea with your co-founder still needed to have major adjustment in the direction?
Yeah, I think we went through the near-death experience at least 3 times. Right? You went out to the market and you suddenly realize that everyone's looking at the opportunity. Everyone's competing with you. And so the first thing we learned is that the fintech is a particular market, what we call the winner takes all. So we're building a platform to bring all the mortgage broker to our platform for them to use the title company, closing services, the appraisal, and all kind of credit reports. When you don't have enough brokers on your platform, no vendor want to work with you. When you don't have the vendors on the platform, no broker want to sign up with you. So we are in a fintech market that the threshold is very high. So we underestimated the effort needed to establish ourselves in the fintech area, and we didn't realize that we spend money so quick. So we see the company making good progress, but several times we looking at the bank account and say, hey, you know, we done that twice. One time we say, every executive, we give you stock, and then you're not taking any pay. That's how bad the situation was. And the second challenge was that suddenly we realized that Microsoft is in the space, and Bank of America is in the space. So you have all these big guys. You have Elon, and then you have at that point the early day of the Rocky Mortgage. So you have many people coming to compete at a very small market, because the market opportunity is big. So you have a lot of competitions, and we were too ambitious the second time. We were taking on the big guys, and so then we found that we are still very small, so we need to find our niche. So this is before you go to if you have a plan to attack the big market, you better find a castle. You better find a very small market segment you can dominate and penetrate. So what we did is that we own the Bay Area mortgage market, and then we help them to. So this is a market because we can talk to them. We have a lot of friends. Before you do that, when we try to go out to compete with everybody else, you know, competing with Microsoft is really, really tough. Nowadays, if you try to compete with Google, you have the same problem. So these are the 2 problems that we went through the near-death experience, and everyone tightened the belt. The things helping us to survive is really the team effort, right? We have a great team. People believe in us, and we have a motivation. So we have passion. So we have a group of people working together. That's how we continue to move on. Then we run into the third problem. right? The third problem in the mortgage market, this is called the cyclical market. Today, it's happening, right? 2 years ago, the interest rate was down to 0. So the 30 years, you get 2.0, 2.5. Everyone doing the refi, you have tremendous, wonderful business. Today, the 30-year mortgage could go to 6%. So the mortgage volume dropped to the very bottom. So we went through the situation that suddenly we lost a lot of business. But somehow very funny, after the 2008, that was a defining moment for us, because this is what they say, right? In the valley of blind, one-eyed man is king. Because we continue to focus on our customer, we're doing better than other people. Many people fail. So we survived the downturn of the mortgage market. When the market turned around, we are the winner. And the second thing we did is that we were very, very much ahead of the game. We moved toward, well, at that point was very novel. It's called the SaaS model, right? Software as a service. So that we charge our customer, we say, you are in a tough time. Why don't we charge you based on, I charge you a base fee, technology fee, then you pay for every transaction over a certain amount. So basically we're helping our customer. So that through the down cycle, we're helping our customer to manage their costs, to make sure that they can survive. But however, when they're coming back, when they make money, we're going to share the profit with them. So at the end, when the economy turned around, we found that the Microsoft, that was called the home advisor, failed. And Bank of America, 4 of the big banks, they have a consortium, the venture failed. And they all, it's not because they're so big, they have their own problem. Microsoft problem was that the head of Microsoft home advisor have no idea about the mortgage market. It's a brilliant young guy, but have no idea about the market. So that nobody liked them. So that even Microsoft cannot compete with us because we understand our customer. So after 3 cycles, especially you go into a down cycle and coming back, then we own the market. So then we went to public 2011. So once we went public, and we realized that when your company goes public, it's just a beginning, because you're getting more money. So everything about scalable. You have a business model, you have proof point. Now you try to show people you can scale. People invest in you, and then you can scale. When you try to scale, it's another fun cycle, because we hiring people all the time. We're getting more office space all the time. We're expanding to every place all the time. It was a fun cycle to grow.
Wonderful. We certainly can chat a lot more, but I feel that you also did something amazing, that is going through all the challenges and the barriers and difficulties. You put so much effort into the nonprofit organization FCSN. And you mentioned to me before that, in fact, you feel that not only you, but Ellie Mae benefit so much encouraging your friends, colleagues, or employees to put effort in helping the nonprofit organization. Can you elaborate more on that? How did you do that?
That's a wonderful question, and that one would take a long time to explain. But when I started Ellie Mae 2 years, when we raised $40 million, and I found my son to be autistic, so I was in a crossroad, because my family wasn't in a good situation. My wife was ex-wife was getting to depression, so there's an early intervention. So timing was so critical. So I went back to my friend, all my friends at Ellie Mae. I told them that, sorry, I have another startup at home, which is more important than Ellie Mae. So I said, I'm going to take care of my kids first, and I just try my best to work with the company. And and then this is a lot of the entrepreneurial career turn out to be very counterintuitive, because what happened is that I was hardworking, and because I was the only field engineer, I was actually the first one roll a platform. I was when we have two people, one is on business, I wrote the first software myself, and I realized that I don't have that much time. So I figured that maybe they would abandon me, but I don't care. I just want to take care of my kid. And my son Dennis, after 2 years, it was a miracle. He opened his mouth, he called me daddy, and then he started to learn to communicate. So it's a miracle at home. And I went back to tell my friend, I say, Ellie Mae is not important to me anymore, because the most important project at home, I got a successful startup, which is more successful than the IPO, because my son can grow, can learn, and then finally find a way to help my son to be fully developed. He can do a lot of things. But you know, this is a response from my American friends. They turn out they admire me. They say, Limin, you're the one, you can put your focus on family. We respect you for that. And they work with my schedule, and then they say, you see, you find people, and then you build a team, and then you dedicate to other people to help. And you train your managers well. And my other friends, actually my colleague from Taida days, they were people say, you see, I mean, they are genius. They work so hard, and they say, you see, they cannot be managers because they don't talk to other people. They don't understand product, and the harder you work, the American executive, they are feeling that maybe you're not competent. So those 2-3 years turn out people respect me more because I learned how to work smart. And that's the first thing. I think for entrepreneur, for building the company, I think the most important thing is leadership. If you have people, if you put a leadership in place, you find other people smarter than you are. You help other people to be successful. Actually, we value these people more than others. So that's why when we try to recruit people, we tell our friend that go to this company, right? Look at who's the best performer and hire his managers, right? Because those are the people that when they can inspire other people, they would be great. So after a couple of years, I suddenly realized that I could have the K and the ED too. In Chinese, 鱼与熊掌. So you really have both because it's not really competing. So therefore, I decided to help other people in my same situation. So I devoted my time. So I raised $3 million around 2002 to 2005, and we built a center in Fremont. It's called Friends of Children with Special Needs. Now we have 3 centers, and we have like more than 100 employees. But the funny thing is that I learned more leadership from the charity than the company, right? Because this is a deal, right? We were competing with talent. We hire people, ask them to work hard, and then those people just don't work hard, and then many of them leave the company. And when I was working on my charity, everyone was a volunteer, and they get no pay, but they believe in the vision. And when we do the fundraising, people working hard, they finish the work, and then even though they're not that competent, some of them, but they work hard, and then at the end we were very successful. So I learned so much from the charity that to build a company, it's the number one is that you need to have a leadership, right? The number two is that you need to have the right culture. the right culture is that how you can motivate your people to come to work happily and friend with other people and working together. And if you have people who don't work together, and then you have hard time fighting other competition already, and you have people fighting inside. This is like rolling the ball. 5 people rolling east, 2 people rolling west, 1 rolling north. You're going nowhere. So and I found that when I have so many volunteers, they're so dedicated to help me with fundraising, to work on the charity, and I realized that because they have the passion, right? If people have passion, they're working hard. This is exactly the thing I kind of took into my engineering team. What I realized that the best software out there is open source. When you have people Friday afternoon, they write the code and sell, and then they figure out what they want to do, and they publish on Monday, free for people to use. and you know how they feel? These people are feeling that, hey, it's my reputation. I do something meaningful, so that I want to make sure that this is a base quality code for everybody to use. So they spend so much effort building such high quality code. Versus some of our competition, I won't say the name like Wells Fargo Bank. So they have a lot of engineers. Every one of them coming maybe on time, but at 5 o'clock, everyone leave. They don't work hard. They just come here for a job. When people come here for a job versus people have passion, you know which side will win.
Absolutely. Does employees in Ellie Mae encouraged to volunteer in the nonprofit organization and other social service events?
Yes, so we were, because we're growing so fast, we have suddenly we have we grow, at the end, several years ago, we have almost 2,000 people, right? So when we have 500 people, several hundred people, it's a big issue how you bring people together, right? And that point, because my partner and me, we always believe in charity, doing something meaningful, because we telling the company that we are delivering American dream. We're helping people to get mortgage, and we're really doing something which could change could change the society. So we set a target that we have very early in time. We have we set out 1% profit to give to charity.
I see.
And we give every employee 1 day off every quarter to do charity work. And every quarter we will every company event multiple times we bring people to do the charity work. I remember we only have 200 people, then we have more than 100 people going to the charity, helping the food bank, helping pack the vegetables, serving the homeless, and the people there say, oh, you must be a huge company, because they have more than 100 people coming to help, and we helping the habitat of humanity, building houses for the homeless, for people, for needy people. So this is what happened, right? People coming to Ellie Mae, they believe they're doing something meaningful, and they're very happy. And then when they go to the charity with their friends, working hard, sweating, then they suddenly realize that, I'm just for example, right? They suddenly realize that Larry is not such a geek. It's actually quite nice, you know, because in the past, you want the product guy can understand the marketing. You want the customer can get into engineer understanding what product you're building. And if people don't work together, it's very hard to build a product that customer really want. And so once we have that event coming back, you know, the product guy, marketing guy is saying that, you know, right now I suddenly Larry is such a good guy. When I just pick out the phone and just call Larry and just say, hey Larry, I have this customer, he's really running into trouble. Could you help me? So the people just pick out the phone and we do that. It's a best, it's most effective team building, and we didn't spend any money, and people helping each other and so happy they accomplish the mission, and then they celebrate together. Now you have people becoming friends, and this is how you can have a small company beating a big company like Google, Microsoft, and other big companies.
Wonderful. With all this sharing, certainly we have more questions we'd like to raise.
Sure.
But the other issue I think is as important is your recent effort, in the sense that you are a very active investor, as well as advising a lot of startups. So in general, based on your own experience, as you just shared, what would be the top priority that you would advise startup? Or even better, what are the key qualities or issues you usually use to gauge a particular startup would be a good candidate to invest money, as well as your valuable time and guidance to that?
Yes, I think as an engineer, but I was co-founder, and I was a CTO, I was a EVP. So I've been managing the business side for a long time and the engineering side. At some point, I understood that if you have a business background, you have lawyer background, you have engineering background, it doesn't matter. If you want to get into the entrepreneurship, then the number one issue is that you need to understand. You need to understand the market, right? You need to understand that the whole equation right now, the first one is what are the problems you're trying to solve, right? You see a market opportunity, you have a problem you're going to solve. And for the next one, is really that every one of us need to be a I don't know how many people may not speak Chinese, but I'm going to use Chinese example a little bit. It's in Chinese, it's called 伯乐跟千里马. So the meaning that you're the host runs very fast, but you need someone recognize you. And many of my friends say, I'm 千里马, I'm so good, but nobody recognized me. Nobody helped me to be successful. But that's bullshit, because in the entrepreneur world, it's if you are the wild horses running everywhere, destroying everything, then you could be a pest. However, it's not about you finding someone to recognize your strengths. It's really turning around. You need to have the leadership. You need to think that my single person, I cannot build a company myself. No matter how smart I am, even I have the IQ 300, it doesn't matter, because I need people, I need a team. So the most important one is really that as an entrepreneur, you need to have people skill, you need to have leadership, and you need to recognize other people, and you need to bring people together. So that's a leadership part. You got to have the mission that bring people together, because you're not going to the day's over. You're not going to lock yourself in the room and write a wonderful program and publish it on the web, and suddenly you become a billionaire. That won't happen anymore nowadays. So you just need to find the best of the best and bring them together. The third one is really that you need to understand that whatever, if you are the entrepreneur, you're solving the problem, you're making the money, but the most important is that whether you have a scalable model, right? You want to find something that you want to find a secret sauce, and you want to find a formula so you can replicate. Because if you open a restaurant, and you could be very successful because you make good food. But if you want to be an entrepreneur, then you are thinking, how can I turn that into a franchise? When I have 2,
Right.
how can I make that into 10, make that into 100? When you can operationalize this one, you make your business scalable, then you have a chance to build a great company. So it's really, you need to change your mindset that it's not about your great technology or your IP. It's really about what's the market and then what's a market opportunity. It's really, you need to bring the people together, you need to build a team. And many of the, not many, several of my current companies, they all run into the same problems that they're running out of money. So you need to, when you're building up, you got to have a logical, feasible plan. You want to, you have a moonshot, that's fine. And you can fail, that's okay. You can learn from your failure, but you got to be practical. You got to raise enough money and use your money to get to the next level. You can raise more money. So I think the more, at least 3 of my companies and the founders, the CEOs, they are all running out of money, and that's a number one reason for failures.
I see. For the early stage startups, we know that in Silicon Valley, because of the everyone talks about startup. What's your view on getting the investment money from friends and family versus from much more experienced angel investor or venture capitalist?
If you have experience, you took company public, and you have the team, you can go straight to the big guys, most of the venture capital guys, and you can raise a lot of money. But for most people, I think the practically, you got to do things like comparable to your size, right? If you have 5 people, you build a startup, you don't have the product, and you're not going to get the institutional money. So therefore, I think the first round is really, if you can get the C round, is really, if you can afford to not take salary from this group, and you can get some angels to help you, and then you set your target. You set your target saying that I want to go to venture capital. But when you go to VC, the typical requirement is that you got to have proof points. You got to have a business model saying that, hey, there's a big market and there's a real problem. I have a good solution. I have proved that my solution works. Now I just need money so I can really build a product and the scale. So that you need to make sure that you have some customers, and then you have real business. Then you can get the venture capital money, because the venture capital guys, sometimes we jokingly say they could be the virtual capital as well, right? They're not going. They are very smart. If not good opportunity, they're not going to invest in you. So that, but you cannot go back to your friends and family, because you don't want to go back to the same group, keep asking for money. So the many company they raise internally between $500,000 to $2 million. That's their seed money. And then you have a group of the entrepreneur who can survive without getting paid. And so that you use that to build the proof points, saying that I'm going to use a simple example. For example, Starbucks coffee, right? I use this money, I built 5 startup companies. Starbucks like coffee shop, and every one of them is working fine, getting customer. And then I figured out how I can get the material, how I can operationalize this 5 startup. Now I can go to the venture capital guys, tell them, you see, the market is huge. And Starbucks, this kind of the cappuccino is really a lot of demand for that. And I have 5 shops. I know that this is what people want, and I just need money to scale. Now you can raise a lot of money, because there's a rule of thumb. which is you probably can rate you need to have valuation. If you want $2 million, you probably need to have $10 million valuation. So every time you give out 15-20% of the company, and that can help you to get to the next plateau, and you can raise more money. And so that's kind of the secret formula. But that's what the startup company need to do. So so you need to be practical. When you have only $1 million, you need to make sure that you build a prototype. It's an MVP. Just prove that people want it, and you have some partners, you have some customers, and you are showing people that, hey, the customer love the product, even though it's not complete. But if I build out this, they really will use it, and all I need is more money to turn this into product, right? Because I always tell I have many ventures. Some of them are not even in the high-tech area. But in the high-tech area, people need to remember, don't build a great technology. When you have great technology IP, that doesn't translate to a product. Even you have a product, that doesn't translate to you have customer or you have market. But if you understand, if you solve the problem for the customers and market needs it, then you don't need to have a complex product, and then you have an opportunity there.
Right. As you pointed out, you are now both the investors on the high-tech company targeting like existing retail or supermarket. On the other hand, you also are the investor pretty much to the customer of these high-tech. So you see both sides of the fence. In terms of most of the like retail companies, restaurant you mentioned, what's your viewpoint in terms of leveraging high-tech to help those companies through like the difficult time in the last 2 years? I think most of those companies feel the lack of resource to leverage high-tech, somewhat similar to Ellie Mae, helping people with a mortgage, maybe even dropping the points and so forth. So what's your general view there to both advice to both the like the incumbent market companies or small retail business owner versus high-tech company who may want to serve this type of market?
Yeah, I'm fortunate to be the LP for some venture funds. I'm also sitting on a venture funds investment committee. So I see from the VC side a lot. Also, I've been investing in some of the I invest in probably 1,000 startup companies, and I founded and then participate in several of them. So I see the full spectrum, and I think again, high tech is like it's like you have a toolbox. Okay, you have a toolbox. You have a lot of gadgets in your toolbox, but the question is still, what's the problem you're solving, right? So many companies falling into the trap that we have great technology, and so therefore we're going to use technology to change the world. But you're going to look at whether the technology is ready and whether the real problem is right. For example, I went to Comdex several years ago, and the LG and Samsung, they always tell you, I put AI. I mean, people saying that you put AI everywhere, you use crypto everywhere, and you use robot everywhere, and the data is everywhere. So all these are great ideas. But the question is that whether you're solving the real problem, right? And if I just use a very simple metaphor, the mousetrap, right? I have a mousetrap. with cheese and with spring, and then works fine. Now I say, I'm going to build a mousetrap with AI, with data all connected to high tech, and I'm using all the high tech stuff, and then it's going to cost you a lot to catch a mouse. But in reality, you're just having a better mousetrap. And this we always say, you don't want to come up with a better mousetrap, right? Because that people may say, yeah, it's a better, but the old one works fine. So it's the same thing, right? Samsung and LG, they say they put AI, they put all the technology into a refrigerator. But I don't see any one of my friends buying a refrigerator when you walk by, can tell you, hey, Mr. Larry, I can download, you have something going expire, I'm going to show you how to cook. And then, oh, I ordered the egg because it's going to expire. It's a nice demo, but it's not a real problem for people to solve. So I think if you want to be an entrepreneur, that you need to, I think talking to people, have good people relationship, joining the CIE, and coming to the talk, learning from different people, because then you realize what's the real problem, right? When you find the real problem, then you say, this is the right solution. I have a lot of tools. This is the right tool to solve this problem. Right now, a lot of companies, they say, we use AI to solve everything. We use data, we use crypto, but you don't need crypto. You're building a better mousetrap. And then that sounds good from the founder side. But for the VC, for the investors, we're not going to invest in you because it's not the real problem and we don't see the promise, and then the old mousetrap works just fine.
Indeed, usually I also hear people saying that, hey, you better be selling medicine. So if I have a stomach pain, I will pay just to get a medicine to relieve myself of the pain. But if you're just selling me vitamin, hey, I can do without vitamin for months or years, and I'm still surviving, no matter how good the vitamin really is.
Yes.
Yeah. So for the market that you are in as an investor, how do you encourage the high-tech company finding the real problem, the real pain point? So do you encourage the company you invested in on both sides of the fence to collaborate, just like before you encourage the colleagues to volunteer in the nonprofit organization, build up the team and all that?
Most of my company starting from market need, right? So the one company, it was a fintech, another fintech company. We were building platform to bring a lot of the convenience into the cell phone. The big picture, the world is changing, right? Everyone moving to, in the past 20 years, moving to mobile, moving to cloud, and then you have crypto, you have AI is so much better. So there's a lot of opportunity. You can solve the real problem, but however, you really need to look at the real world problem first, right? For example, one of my company, we launched 2 years ago, and then it was during the pandemic, and during pandemic, all the restaurants are having problem, and they're having problem delivering the food, trying to solve the supply chain problem. So they have a lot of the issue that that push everyone from the traditional shop to a high-tech shop. So in the past 2 years, everyone need high-tech to solve the problem, because they have a real problem. People are not going out, so then you need technology to solve the problem. So that I will never, at least not for me, I will never look at a great technology, say, hey, let me build a great technology, and then let me build a better mousetrap. Let's see whether there's a market for that. So it's because I've been in the business for too long, that as a computer scientist, my technology skill has been completely obsolete. The program I use, and then I talk to my son, and I realize things change so much. So that you're not going to have the expertise you have like 10 years ago, and then you decide to build a solution. But you really look at today's market. For example, in the company we are building now, nobody build your own data center anymore, right? Just use Amazon. And you use use open source as much as possible, because the free and reliable, but you need to learn how to manage the open source. So the technology has been changing, and so I'd rather look at what are the problems I need to solve. I'd be happy to build something low tech, but people want it, because you still can have a great company doing that. I mean, I remember 10 years ago, 20 years ago, my friend doing the boba milk tea. I said, that's a great business, because it's going to explode. There'll be so many of them. Nowadays, no one own the market, but it has been so many of them. But if you see the opportunity before other people, or if you see the opportunity but you can have the right team, or you see the opportunity, you can raise a lot of money. So it's a lot of the technology are very simple, right? If you look at the Uber Eats, and if you look at Uber, I mean, the concept is simple, right? You have someone need a taxi, and you and someone want to drive a taxi, and you just put everyone on the map. I think Larry, you can put together a team, write the software to work in a month. but the reality is really the business model, right?
Yes.
And that you have the right business model, and then you own the market, then you have every advantage to your side. And it's like Uber Eats or DoorDash, right? DoorDash, when you have all the customers on your platform, everyone had to sign up to your platform, because you want the customer, right? So it's a many technology company. Some of them are high-tech company, right? I would imagine Snowflake, some of the AI company, all the traditional, the NVIDIA, those companies, the semiconductor companies are taking a long time to build. But for a lot of the startup, it's really not high tech. It's really application of the high tech. So you have problem, you find the right technology, you find the right partners, and then you own the customer. Once you own the customer, then you could put in a lot of technology into it, right?
Yes, thank you very much. Let's open the session to the Q&A, allowing all the audience to raise their hands and ask the question. Meanwhile, allow me to present a question from one of the audience. In terms of the talent recruiting, for example, in the Ellie Mae or in any of the company you invest in, would you consider foreign talent who has no exposure or never been to the US before?
Yeah, I think I have 3 startup companies now. One use a team from India, the other use a team from China, and the third one, we have an engineering team in Taiwan. I think right now it's throughout the pandemic, people learn to work together much better. It's always a balance, and you find that I talk to many young people, graduate from UC Berkeley, Cal, and Stanford, and after working in the industry for 5 years, they all make $300,000 a year, okay, and in computer science. So you have a lot of the Bay Area company paying out huge amount of money. So the entrepreneur engineering resources are very, very expensive in the United States. So you had to be flexible. And so you need to try to blend the best of the two worlds, right? One is that whoever you can find, and then if you can efficiently bring them together, then you have a great team, then you'll be successful. But however, the other challenge is that going back to the team, the most successful startup team are the one everyone sitting on the open cubicles. You talk to each other, you work together, you do the rapid prototyping, you do the Scrum, because you need to understand customer. Everyone need to be everything. You need to work together because you don't have time to do the waterfall. You don't have time to design the software and spend 3 years to build it because you'll be falling behind. So I would say that the biggest challenge is that you need to make sure the team can work together. We have a lot of failure. The overhead was high. I wasn't trying to stereotyping, but at some point we have an Indian team, and they agree to everything, but they never deliver. But they work very hard. It's a turn out it costs us a lot because we building the software because one critical piece missed the deadline, so the whole schedule got delayed, right? So the cost of communication is very high. So I don't believe the model that you can just have a Zoom and have all the employees just working from home all the time. I don't believe that model, but I do believe that people learn to work together remotely. But you need people to know each other, understand the problem. And I would imagine that if I have a company, I still want people come to office because it's a team building. Everyone need to be on the same page. So that's a challenge because sometimes when you have teams all over the place, the cost of communication and the failure of the individual and the using the wrong people sometimes costs you more than using the local team. But the reality is that the America, especially California, especially in the Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, it's so expensive, and you need to hire local engineers wisely. And sometimes we use a local engineer to wear multiple hats, right? They need to know product, they need to understand the process, they need to understand people and customer, because the local engineers are very expensive. And this is unfortunately Facebook, Google, Apple, they are building out these people's appetite. So you cannot afford to compete with them when you're small.
Exactly. On the other side, how would you describe your personal growth, shouldering more and more responsibility? Anyway, I mean, Ellie Mae, you started with 2 persons, ended up 2,000 and even more. So how did you grow your personal capability other than the trust with your co-founder?
Yeah, so you need to build out your own market value. So the first year, I was wearing the founder's head and the head of the engineering, right? I led the team to build a product, but reality, I'm also the product team. I'm also the sales team, because when we go out to do the sales, I go out to show people, and we have technology partners. Fannie Mae investing in us, so I flew there to work with Fannie Mae's technology folks. So it's really, I think the number one skill you need to have is really, you need to be open-minded, and you need to communicate with everyone. Because to be a top executive, it's people talk about Peter's principle, right? So yes. If you focus on engineering, you don't know product, you don't know sales, and you cannot work with American, then you're not going to be successful going up, because when you climbing the corporate ladders, it's a when you're engineer, you use your strengths to say, hey, I'm the great engineer. But when you want to be managers, they want you to manage other people. They want you to motivate other people. They want you to manage product. They want you to talk to customer. So you really need to, even you want to be a chief architect, it's the same requirement. Even you don't want to manage people, in Ellie Mae, we still ask you to, if you don't talk to customers, you don't understand product, that you cannot be an architect. So my first few years, I learned that because my startup experience prior to Ellie Mae, I feel that I earned multiple MBA already. So that I've been wearing the hat of asking for money and dealing legal issues, and then looking at the financials. So to be an entrepreneur, you kind of like growing yourself into all the area. And I think I'm lucky because I started the company, so I have a chance to learn, but always on top. But I would imagine that the last job I worked for a big company was IBM. When I look at the IBM's the corporate ladders, I say, for Chinese coming from immigrant Chinese and then doesn't speak good English and working at the IBM research, competing with all the PhD from the best university, MIT, Stanford, I mean Harvard and everywhere. It's really difficult to compete in that situation too. And then I could be a manager after I work 5-7 years. When I look at the corporate ladder, that's 13-14 levels. So if I climb one ladder every 5-7 years, it takes me forever to get to the top. So that's why I think I would advise people that it's the same thing if you work for a company, right? You don't want to stay in the company for 20 years because then you move out a little bit, then you'll be learning, you don't have enough experience. Basic experience will be after 5 years, you switch to a different company, but along the way, you need to build out your marketable skill. Meaning that it's not just a technology, it's really that you can work with people and then you can, when I was wearing my CTO hat, this is my style, right? I will bring the best technical guys into the critical meeting. We have senior VP, we have architect, we have the CI, we have the CIO, we have all the key guys there. And it's encouraging people to do the brainstorm and encouraging people to reach a conclusion. And when I make the final call, everyone just need to go in one direction. And so how do you be a better leader? This is what I talk about, the leadership, right? I think the most thing I learned throughout my career is the leadership. And how you can lead by example, how you can influence not by position, how you can bring people together, and then how you can solve problems. And when people trust you, then you have a chance to move out. And then you need to work with many people. If you want to be a move out the corporate ladder, or you want to be an entrepreneur, it's all the same. You need to broaden your connections, and then you need to learn from everyone, and that's the best chance for you to get to the next level. And besides, many of my excellent opportunity coming through these personal connections, because people, you have connection, and you talk about, you discuss, and someone have a good idea, then that's how you get the opportunity. Because I started probably more than 10 companies in my career. Most of them coming from friends or friends, and happen to all coming from my customers. So that you build every relationship, you you build out you build out your credibility, and then you build out your. The other thing I would say is that the always be happy, take care of yourself, because people don't want to hang out with with people who's not happy, right? So you're happy, you're optimistic, and you're humorous, and then you get people happy together with you. Then they'll be happy doing business with you, because as I say, if you do something you like, and you have motivation, you have passion, you have much better chance to be successful.
Indeed, but I would say people probably are curious in the sense that, okay, I need to understand the business side. Maybe I should take an MBA degree. But reality is that very often, like you pointed out, one needs to be a leader. What would be the good way for people to become a good leader, or where can they learn? You pointed out, I wonder whether in the nonprofit organization volunteer work, one truly learned to lead, because nobody reports to the other guy. We're all volunteers. Also, as a leader, a manager, the higher the position, very often people may feel more stressed. Is that also an important factor for one's career in terms of the stress management?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the Silicon Valley spirit is the one that you're not afraid of failures, because I have one successful startup, I have another 5 fail ones. So you're going to run into failure more than you run into success. So that's kind of the you need to have the capacity to say, hey, it's going to fail, things not going to work, but I'm going to figure out how I can make it happen. And you really need to be optimistic in a way that you want to explore opportunities. So the good way for leadership would be joining a community work, right? Like CIE, or try to work with other people, and work with a different startup company, try to build a team, and so that there are a lot of the lessons to teach you about the leadership, but at the end you need to internalize in a way that the leadership becoming more like, if you can treat people sincerely, if you can help people, and then if you can and work out your stress, if you can be optimistic, if you can be very happy and very likable, that's your strength. And then you need to, next thing you need to do is recognize and appreciate other people's value and contribution, because it's not, I mean, to build a company into $1 billion, there are a lot of people putting their effort. If you appreciate what other people do, and don't try to use your position as a power, and you respect other people, and then you get the positive feedback, and you will build better and better leadership. Yeah, I think leadership is something very difficult to describe in a very short time. But I would just want to share with people that the leadership is an area you want to learn, and then you want to be a better person, you want to be a better leader. Even when I joined the Boy Scout, trying to I have my son in the Boy Scout troop. I was a Scout master, and we always say lead by example, right? Yeah. How you can lead by example, helping others, and then people will follow you. So once you have people follow you, once you establish your leadership, you have people, you have your reputation out there, then you can continue to build more and more based upon your leadership.
Yes. So from your perspective, on the individual side, you advise us learn to be a good leader, and that certainly is very often a challenge for us. On the other hand, you also mentioned that the understanding of the true points, true pain points in the marketplace is an important direction. I assume that you pretty much mean that even when one works in a big corporation like your early days in IBM, the same advice will follow.
Yes, absolutely. And the best way to get to understand customer is put yourself in their shoes. So I build a product. I build a product for restaurant to use. I'm going to talk to the restaurant owners. I'm going to sit down with them to see whether they like it, because we don't pretend we understand customer. You're going to talk to customer and understand, and then try to put in their shoes, and then you get their feedback. So the understanding customer, this is a process. This is not going to YouTube or read a book. It's really that you really need to talk to them. You understand from their point of view. Once you understand their point of views, then you understand them so much better. Because then you understand why they care this more than the other. I mean, you know their MO, you understand. So that I say in one of the skill for you to be a good entrepreneur or climb the corporate ladder is communication. It's the communication and open communication. And one area I think the Chinese American are lacking is what I call the Chinatown effect, right? When I was at IBM, and during lunch, all the Chinese PhDs, we sit down together, we lunch together, we talk to each other in Chinese, and we feel very comfortable in the Chinese community. But however, you are in America. You want to open your mind, open your channel. You talk to I have Indian friend, I have American friend, I have a European friend. I talk to them. These are my good friends. And only by engaging them, you understand they are different, right? Once you understand they're different, they also understood I'm different, and that we respect each other. So that's why we are here. I think the taking all the Chinese American, all the Asian engineer, American engineer, we want to talk to, we want to participate, we want to get to mainstream, because Ellie Mae, our marketplace is all majorities American. So that you really need to embrace your customer. I think the most important is really open-minded and then communicate. And even your English, even my English is lousy, but people understood. They understood you're immigrant. We don't expect your English to be good, but however, they would once they get to know you, they will appreciate your strengths, because we as a Chinese American, sometimes we just cannot English. Our English was not so good. Sometimes we try to express, we just didn't express so well, and then we try to argue with people. We just don't argue too well. but over the time, once you get to know them as friends, then they respect you, and then they understood. It will take a little bit time for you to make your point, and then they're willing. And then once they heard you have good points, then that's how things will evolve. So that's why I encourage people to embrace mainstream. And you all need to have some in your office. Everyone's your friend, and don't stick to the Chinese, because that won't get you nowhere.
Indeed.
But during the weekend, it's fine. I mean, you play mahjong, you during the weekend family time, you hang out with your best friends. I hang out with all the Taiwanese friends. That's fine, but don't block yourself into a corner.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Limin, for sharing your valuable experience and your insight and also your personal story here. I think our time is up. I think I would say CIE and also AAEOY appreciate very much your sharing of the experience, encouraging everyone having a better chance with their career and knows better what they should focus on and work on. So our salute to you and thank you again for sharing the evening with us.
It's my pleasure. Wonderful.
All
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. So at the very end, I would like to have all the volunteers from CIE to turn on your camera. Let's have a group picture with our speaker Limin here. And quite a few volunteers. Please do so. I know every event, we always appreciate the volunteers who spend a lot of extra time in the background making things happen. Without your dedication and help, no event can be done nor be successful. So representing CIE, I'd like to send a big thank you to all the volunteers today. All right, now we're taking pictures here. All right, thank you again. Now it's the end of our meeting. And one last announcement is that next speaker series event will be sometime in the early fall, September timeframe. We will release the information in August before the event. Thank you very much and have a wonderful evening.